Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I got my partner in the building, Brother Low Key. What's the deal?
What's going on, Brother Cole Black?
Oh, man, you know how we do it, bruh. Actually, you know, we want to take a glimpse. This would be actually an addition to the future, or a prophecy, or something prophetic, by looking at the signs that are in place today. And I want to go back over the reason why we're on this topic. One, this weekend watching the Michigan College game, our son asked me who was I going for, which team was I rooting for, and I told him Michigan because they had a black quarterback. And in his mind, he was like, well, that's all he's seen was black quarterbacks. So then in turn, I asked him, well, what president do you remember before Barack Obama? And he was 4 at the time, so the only president that he ever known in his whole existence is Barack Obama. So the question being, and this will be prophetic, is the fact that the only racism that two types. I can't say the only. He's experienced police brutality and racism in the educational system of the way history is being taught when it's being compared to or explained about blacks in society during ancient times, even going back into Mexico or Egypt. They'll put a movie about the Egyptians and show all whites as though no blacks was there. And in his Akashic records, in his DNA coding, he knows that the Egyptians was black. You know, so how do you see the future with a mindset of this next generation who only knew a black president and who only knew black quarterbacks? Because in our time it was redhead white quarterbacks. Now you got the black quarterbacks, black president, but the only thing on the table is police brutality in the educational system. Will that generation be the one to eradicate that, or how is their mindset playing out by growing up in a world where they only seen a black president?
Right. Ultimately, it's up to us. It's up to the guardians. You know, it's never a thing of, you know, something outside of self taking care of a issue that we got now, when the only thing that's real is now, the perpetual now. You know, so, you know, as far as, you know, the way things are going, you know, things are, you know, we see a rise in consciousness, you know, people that, you know, I grew up with, I'm seeing them, you know, come into consciousness in different ways. And, you know, we see the shift happen right before our eyes, you know, and because so many things are under a number system, then you have a mathematical way to be able to gauge things, you know, as a additive to just what we're seeing whenever we come across people and we have these conversations and we see and we hear the consciousness in them. Right. You know, we also see the numbers and we see, you know, the audience that when you go, you know, on social media and you see, you know, different platforms and where conscious people are speaking and you see the numbers that they're generating, you know, so all of that, you know, is just a sign of the times and, you know, just showing us where we at with it, you know. So, you know, it's up to us, you know, the guardians, you know, we ultimately, as we're functioning as guardians over our children, we have a large, I should say, a major effect on what they're going to be exposed to in their reality, you know. So, you know, it's up to us.
It's up to us entirely. Okay, now we're going to convert that into common ground, right? Now, if our children see their parents interacting with And they're already doing it, though. You know that? They already building the common ground, because in the school system now, you got blacks of all nationality, but they hang together.
Right.
They sit at the same lunch table, talking with each other. You know, my daughter said, well, I got a friend, she's from Nigeria. You know,
Right.
This black is black.
Right.
You right, the dividing lines between us as a race is melting away.
Right.
But now, can you see the brother in San Diego from Uganda who was gunned down by the police? Can you see that actually being an agent to help create common ground? Because the first was Bahamas, and when their president told his citizens, do not travel to America because they'll shoot you. You black, they can't tell the difference. Now you got an African from Uganda being shot down, and now they're saying, well, they can't tell the difference between the American blacks, the African blacks. You just melanated and they shooting you down, because at one point they tried to separate us. You know, well, we from Africa, we gonna go over here and y'all go over there. But when they riding down the street and that cop let one in them, they like, wait a minute, I'm not, you know, my name it ain't, you know what I mean? My name ain't Little Ray Ray, man.
Right.
He don't know the difference.
Right.
You think that'll be a catalyst to bring common ground?
Never obstacle, always opportunity. Once again, you know. So, you know, for anybody listening to this, and you know, anybody who's in the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, we got to capitalize. You know, because we're constantly getting bombarded with these, you know, these situations, these, you know, as far as what's going on with Colin Kaepernick and the stance that he's taking, these platforms where we're speaking on consciousness, what Brother Cole Black is bringing to the people, bringing all of these people on to speak on different things, you know. So, you know, with everything, you know, and what's going on with the police and the way that that's circulating through social media, we got to capitalize on these things. We got to jump into these conversations for those who want to have a conversation. I'm not saying force it on people who are not interested in that type of don't do that at all, because you know that's you wasting your time and energy. Right. You know, you could take that time and be getting your understanding up, and you know, getting your knowledge up, and that's gonna magnetize to you the people that you're supposed to be having that conversation with. You know, So yeah, you know, it's definitely with that situation that happened with the African brother. You know, we are Africans. You know, there is no difference. You know, that is our common ground, and you know, we need to all build on that. You know,
right, to escape language barriers, to escape accents that one may speak, or because if you look at the thing that. If you look at the slave, because if you were a slave in 2016, what makes a slave? It's your thinking. If you have a certain mindset in 2016, you are a slave. If you don't know anything about your history or knowledge yourself, or not even trying to read or study, then that means you are viewing things out of the mind of the slave master who taught you. But that mindset, the mindset has to be eradicated. 400 years of a slave master's mind should have been eradicated, but it has to be eradicated. Or you will find yourself in opposition with a train that's moving.
Right.
You know? So, question is, before we wrap the show up, the question being is, should we put a time limit, or should there be a time limit, or should we say those who have a slave mind going into 2017, that's where they want to be, or can they be, can they come up out of that slave mind, or have they participated in practice that slave theology for so long till it's hard to pull them out of it?
Well, I mean, ultimately, can't nobody save. We can't save people. They got to save themselves.
Okay.
You know, this is not a thing of you know, where we have a Jesus complex. You know, where we gonna drop out of the sky and, you know, pull up all our people. You know, this is a self-responsibility thing. You know, when you have knowledge of self, you understand these things. You don't look outside of self to something to save you. You know, so for these people, you know, that have a slave mind, you know. To be honest, I mean, it doesn't, you know, that whatever their path is going to be is not going to change the fact that the guard is shifting, you know.
Right.
And really, we always had the power. It's just a matter of realizing it. Right. When our people realize, you know, the kind of power we have, then, you know, you'll see even more of a drastic change, and you'll see the velocity speed up in regards to, you know, us coming into power, wealth, and resources as a whole, as a collective.
So metaphysically speaking, could that be they higher self fighting with their lower self? And I'm saying this from the context of the ancestors. Mm-hmm. You know, your Akashic record, your DNA, your genetic code. You mean to tell me they can't go back into a time where they sensed that they were free and had knowledge, wisdom, and understanding? Or do they refuse that voice inside and suppress it and say that my heaven on earth will be following white folk? That's how I'm gonna get my bread butter.
Good question. Good question, Brother Black.
You know, because I'm seeing it. It's, you know, it's are they making a stance like, you know, hey, I see my heaven the way that white folk describe heaven. I want my milk and honey. I want this gold paved roads or whatnot. I'm going for it. What you talking about, y'all niggas ain't, I'm riding with him.
Right. Now, I can't speak for anybody else, but what I can say is that it's definitely there. And it's interesting because all it takes is for somebody that they look up to or they admire or some entertainer they look at in order to spark that. And then all of a sudden they get it. They have an aha moment, you know?
Come on, that's right.
So, yeah, man.
All right, man, as usual, man, we hit you with thought-thinking topics, you know, to stimulate the mind, you know, on a metaphysical basis, a physical basis, or even if you can imagine sun rays as antennas giving out radio wavelengths into your brain, connecting with that energy or that lightning, you know, that electricity in that brain power. That's the purpose of this show. You know, Brother Low Key, always, man, it's a pleasure having you on the show, bro. Keep them thinking.
Hey, appreciate you, Brother Cole Black.
Yeah, we got